Okay. Hi everyone. We are on day 5 of our Java or Python for beginners tutorials. We're gonna go through the basics in the next 30 days in a half an hour. So this should be a half an hour session. I'm gonna set my timer right now. Yeah, there's an interactive chat available if anyone wants to chat. Drop a message and I will see it and I'll respond adequately. And obviously, if you have any suggestions, put those on the YouTube, Twitch, or LinkedIn comments, and I will be sure to cover and discuss those topics as well. Okay, so without any further ado, let's get going over here. Okay, so let's get into okay. Make sure that we can see the IDE properly. Let's create a new file over here. Let's call it day 5. Right. It's a Python file, so we need to rename it. Right. So let's go over here. Let's let's update our README really quick. Let's talk about what we're gonna do. Day 5. And we are going to do functions, argue, and for those functions, return values and import statements. And the reason we're going to do import statements is because we want to be able to get code in and run it from different developers, right? Because we don't know everything, and we want to leverage code from other programmers so that we can develop more functionality, right? We want to do that. So let's get this working really quick. File working check. Right. Let's quickly check that if it's running. There we go. Right. So we're able to get it going. Let's define and call the function really quick. So okay. Anyways, something is popping up on my screen, which I don't like. Okay, so defining and calling functions, right? So the way you define a function is by typing in the def word. So this is a keyword. So keyword greeting that's the name of the function. Put a colon here, you return, and then you can type in something like this, right? And we say print an F string. Hi there. Oh wait. So that's for the variable. This is for the string. Hi there. My name is so and so. What is your name? My name is, this is a variable. So name is a variable here. It is a variable that we talked about that we would cover, and it's an argument. It's an argument. It's an object passed to a function. So it's a var. So think of it like this way. Think of it as data passed to a memory hole, right? So return, and this can be, you can call it output. You can call it output, right? So the output is, we could print it. We could also put it as a F string, like that. And then we can return output. We call it greet is equal to greeting, and we can pass a name, right? Name, right? Name, for that. So I wanna look at the error if there is one. Why are we not able to see the output of the file really quick? Let's see. Okay, so let's see where we are. So we're here. Let's go to source. Let's go to Python. CD. Let's go to source. Python basics. Virtual environment. Scripts. Activate. CD. Python basics. ls. Day 5. Python day 5. Why isn't it printing? Oh yeah, return. Because you've not put a print statement on it, right? So how will it print out of the console if you don't tell the computer, hey computer, print something out of the console, right? Come on. There you go. Hi there, my name is Adi, right? So you could put a print statement in here. If you don't have that thing going over here, you know, and then you can make we can do my friend Paulo, right, as well, and we can run the function twice. Right. So anyways, so shout out to Paulo. So this is basic defining and calling functions. So we defined a function here, and then we've called the function right here, right? What we can do is let's go with the return statement is covered as well, right? Because we've returned this object and we printed it in the process. We can also make it actually do a couple of functions as well, right? So let's do def squared, right? And we'll pass number. We do return number square and a number, right? And we can do result equal to squared. We can call it with a number. We can give it 5 or 6 or 10 or 1, 5, 6. We can do this, and then we can say print like this, right? That's F. Skip that in there. Let's go. Let's say something like this: the square of this is result, right? So the result will do the calculation, which is an enormous number, right? And it's going to use this this function. It's gonna return this number right here. So it's gonna square it, right? And you could do to the power too, right? So you could put 2 stars, because if you remember our operations here, 2 stars take precedence and 3 stars. You know what I mean? So we can really make this into a big number if you want, but this is just doing square, which is already pretty big, in my honest opinion. And there it is. You know. Anyways, so there's another way you can use a return statement, right? And these are function calls, right? You could do that. We could write another function with the how do I I'm trying to think what is the best way to explain this. Okay, think of it this way: if you go ahead and let me check and see if I have any chat messages. Okay. Right. So if you have a function, right, a function, and let me define it really quick. Let's call it introductions, right? And it has 2 variables, right? It has name and age is equal to 50, right? And then the output is print and it's gonna print the name and the age. Okay, so you're gonna go name, and I am, my name is so and so. So my name is so and so, and I am 50 years old. Right? So that's the age. You remember this is what the output is going to be, right? Of the statement, whatever, right? So if that's the output, the return print over here, you turn and return output, right? And you want to call introductions, right? So intro 1 is equal to. So look at this. Look at the way I'm calling this function call, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a name in here as Sean. Right? So I've just given name is equal to Sean, right? But I'm not giving any value. I'm not giving age. So it's going to default to this age of 50, right? So when I run it, it just says, oh, I didn't put print again. So I can put print in two places. I can wrap this entire thing in a print statement like this as well, right? And it'll print out Sean, right? It'll say, hey, my name is Sean and I'm 50 years old, right? So another way to do this introductions. So you give a name here, any random name, right? Like we give Drew, right? But then here you can give an age is equal to 25. Now what's going to happen is this function knows to take two parameters. The first time you didn't even pass second parameter, it defaulted to what it already had. Hard-coded is 50. Now we're going to pass 25, so it's going to overwrite the default parameter that's in place in the function, right? So that's how you take defaults and you overwrite the defaults, right? With named arguments. Okay? Okay. So this is an important concept to understand. Now let's import the math module, right? We can check this by going into our, we are in our virtual environment. If you see, it says Python, so we can do pip list, we can do Python is in import math. Okay, so math is a built-in module in Python, right? So what we can do is we can go here, and we always try and put import statements on top. You can be, you could do basically whatever you want in a Python file. If you want to write it at the bottom, you could do that. You could write it before your math code, whatever floats your boat, man. But it is a line-by-line interpreted language. It does execute line by line, so you want to import all your modules up top, so that if there's any problems with the import, so you're missing something like an external library, the interpreter prompts you immediately to install that and stuff. So then you can actually get to the nuts and bolts of your real code that you're trying to run, right? So you want to do that. All right. So we've imported math, right? What does that allow us to do, right? You can type in math, and then we have all these functions, right? So let's do square root, since we did square root earlier, right? We did square. Let's do this. He's whining because I didn't quit it. Quit it. Here we go. 7.0. That's the square root of 49. So let's see what the square root of 49 bajillion is. There you go. I can't even say the number and the computer can solve it, so obviously we want to leverage computers to do manual work. This is a prime example why, right? Math cosine of 0. What's the cosine of 0? 1. Did I necessarily know that off the top of my head? No, but I know it's important. When you do calculus, you need to know all of those, it's like a little weird table that you gotta know in order to do calc, right? You know that. Everybody knows that. So whoever does calculus knows that. So you gotta memorize that. Why you don't have to memorize it with this, right? What's the value of pi? 3.14. There's no end to it, right? So you can do that. Let's do one more function to wrap it up. We're at 25 minutes. We're gonna go another couple of minutes. We're gonna write another function, and then we're done with functions. And we'll probably roll into a couple more advanced topics. Into inheritance, polymorphism, etc. after we cover classes tomorrow. Right? So let me Let me look up the. I need to look up the formula for Fahrenheit to Celsius formula equation. That's Celsius is blah 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 Fahrenheit, right? So if we're gonna try and return Celsius, we have to pass in Fahrenheit, right? So we gotta have Fahrenheit defined. Right, so what is standard Fahrenheit? What is it? F. What is F supposed to be here? We need to find out what F is supposed to be. So it's not complete. The formula is not complete, man. Celsius, the formula for converting Fahrenheit to Celsius, C is equal to 509 Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit are the same at minus 40 degrees at ordinary temperatures. Fahrenheit is larger than Celsius, 98.6. So what does Fahrenheit have to be? 98.6. Or 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's that. Change this to Fahrenheit. Celsius is equal to this, okay? So, and then we want to pass NC here. Always. And then do this, we do this, we do this. And then we're going to return. That's the math right there. Return C. That's really okay. We could probably. Temperature Celsius is equal to Fahrenheit to Celsius called with C passed to it. With C passed to it is equal to. We should call this something else, right? Celsius. Cool. And boom, boom. Okay, there we go. Right? So that should run. No problems. It won't print anything out, but it run. Why did it? What did it do? What did it do? What did it do? Oh. Well, you could put a multiplication sign there, and what will happen first? The division, then the subtraction. No, the division, multiplication, subtraction. Why? Because of PEMDAS. BODMAS. Okay. Print. Well, let's just run it as Come on, come on, come on. We don't want any errors here. Why is it whining? What did I do wrong? No. Oh, because I'm the interpreter. What is going on, man? Okay, so the code should run just fine, like that. So it goes all the way to PIVAL 3.14 because it gives you pi value. One of these if you want. Oh, and it's crying because you always do underscore. And there you go. See? It's like a Pythonic thing. You're supposed to try and do your variables like this. Right. And then let's try and get this. Let's do a print statement. Temperature Celsius. It's the calculation, right? Feed in 98 degrees and it does a conversion. Now you can also take this and you can do input int I wonder if I did this correct. It might be okay. And then let's look at the first file. Was the day 2 that did inputs? Where did I do inputs, man? Day 4. Oh. Google, my dear friends. Google, hello, how to, so in Java it's called standard in, right? Scanner in, sorry. So you use, in Java, you use the scanner function that's a built-in in Java to put an input on the console. So how to input, I thought I covered this. Data in Python, give console, taking data input. So input, it should do it. This should do it right there. This what we have should ask us for an input. So let's run it, and it's asking me for a class int, and we give it 98.5. No, I think remove this, and I have to say input enter the temp in Fahrenheit. Enter the temperature in Fahrenheit. 98.3, and input Fahrenheit. Why is it not? 98.3 minus this. Exception found. String to int. Oh, but it's a variable. It's a variable. I knew it. Haha, I needed to put it inside a thing. It's still giving me a problem. Why is it giving me a problem? There's temperature in Fahrenheit, 98.3. 98, why? Stop. Run the code. 98.3. Give me an error, man. Okay. I'm not doing anything incorrect. Give it a float 2.2 f. What is going on over here? everything. Fix the function, better variable names. Celsius, Fahrenheit to Celsius. Enter 98.3. Oh my god. This is really frying my brain. Why is this not working right? Why is this not converting output correctly? It did it. Temperature Celsius 37. It did the calculation, but now it's not doing it. This thing is saying do a float. It makes complete sense because an integer, per our learnings earlier, can only deal with stuff like this. 98, that's an integer, right? So if you give it a 98.7 or 0.3, the float can convert it. If you switch this to integer, like I had it, there's nothing wrong with it, you know, but the data type is an integer, so you can only put in whole numbers like this, 98, and it'll work, right? The moment you put in 98.3, it'll fail. It'll give you the error, and it'll stun. And I was all wrapped up. I was like, what's wrong with this, you know? So depending, it has to be a float because two things, right? It's here, and then there's a .2f underneath over here too, which is a float. So it has to be a float type, otherwise it's not going to run. I mean, it won't take in the number, the decimal, and process that as a Celsius output too. Anyways, that is the end of today's stream. Let me quickly cross-check comments. I will send the messages directly to the people that have dropped words in the chat. I'll have to pull up the doc. I will talk to you guys tomorrow on day 6, and we will move forward into classes, I believe. That's where we're going with this, right? So the understanding is that, well, we don't have an issue with this. The thing is that all these functions that you guys see over here that we wrote, def, these are class methods, and they can be if they're inside a class, then the class becomes a blueprint. You can access the methods by calling the class once. So you instantiate the class, then you can keep that object going and keep calling different methods to create different objects. It's pretty neat. You guys should like it. We'll also look at decorators and stuff and static stuff. So we'll go over all of that on day 6. All right. Thanks very much.